welcome to this game review. In this one, there was a clear moment of a lack of blunder checking where you lost a whole rook, right? And this is, of course, something we should try to avoid. And the reason for the blunder was clear. You made the move in 1 second. Always make sure to look for at least a few candidate moves before making the move that you want to make. So, in this game, we start with d4, d5, and after knight c3, you mentioned he's attacking your pawn, so you need to protect it. But that is not really the case, because with d4, d5, the queen is always defending the pawn. So this is not the same as the Italian, where this pawn is actually attacked. I said the Italian, but this is not the Italian, right? The Italian will be after bishop c4. So here, this is actually a mistake, because with d4, d5 openings, white has to attack in the center with c4, playing the queen's gambit. Taking the gambit is not necessarily very good. White usually gets the pawn back quite quickly. But black should probably defend with e6 or c6. And the game goes on, and white has some pressure on the center with the c-pawn. So the reason this is a mistake is now that without the c-pawn, white will not really be pressuring the black center. And the pawn will be stood here, and black can be the one to start pressuring. Okay, e3, bishop f5, developing the pieces, and knight b5, moving the same knight twice. And yeah, this knight doesn't really do anything here. With the bishop on f4, there would be a threat of knight takes c7, which would be winning. But there is no bishop, so the knight alone can't really do much. So you can ignore it, which you did, or you could push it back. Okay, bishop d3. And you mentioned he's attacking your bishop, but he's not really attacking your bishop, right? The attack would be if it was not defended. He is kind of threatening to double your pawns, so this is something we should really allow. Probably we should, after all, take, as a developed queen will not really be very painful, and after a6 the knight will have to go back, and we can be the ones to strike in the center, and black will be doing very well, because white's c2 pawn is not playing in the game. It could be either attacking or defending with c3, but it's not doing anything. So black is doing very well, and he can finish development at the castle. So c5, but this allows white to double the pawns, and had white taken here, we would recapture, and we go to this structure, which is not very good for black, because he has he has an isolated pawn on d5, which means this pawn has no friends next to it, which means it will always have to be defended by pieces. So this is not a very good thing for us. We want pawns to defend pawns, which is why allowing this was maybe not ideal. Okay, knight f3 and c4. This is a nice move, not allowing this anymore. Taking here would be a mistake, as it would help the white pieces. But yeah, c4. Now the knight goes here. And you did not see a real threat, except the sacrifice on f7 to prevent me from castling. So you actually did see kind of a threat, right? And you played queen e7. So as I understand, this was an outslip and you wanted queen d7. But in either case, you don't have to defend from a threat that isn't there, right? You can just finish development. What, is he going to just give up a knight to not allow you to castle? Who cares about castling? We are up a piece at this point. Castling will not matter, especially when his pieces are nowhere near your king. So okay, queen e7, now this kind of blocks your bishop. King f1 is a strange move. Knight e4. And here you're moving the same piece twice, kind of forgetting opening principles. You still haven't developed your pieces, still haven't castled, so we should try to focus on that. So just develop the knight, maybe castle queenside even. Get the queen out of the way, develop the bishop. And the black is of course doing fine, as white cannot castle, his pieces are terrible, his knights are strangely placed, they will all be kicked away soon. But knight e4 kind of exchanges the opponent's bad knight, and now still we have no pieces developed. Through queen g4 there's a big threat, which you defended from with queen d7. And yeah, here you mentioned this took only 1 second to make, and this is something we've talked about. Do not make pre-moves. Never ever make automatic moves, because you will never know when there is a better move, right? The only way to find a better move is to look for a better move, right? if you just make the first move that comes to mind, it's kind of a 50-50. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. This time you lost the lottery. And here king d7 would be fine. And the reason this is fine is because we don't need to castle. You wanted to keep the option to castle. But castling, what's the point of castling, right? The point of castling is to develop the rook from the corner and to get the king safe. But here the king is safe because there are no queens on the board, and generally white's pieces are very passive. And the king can stay in the center, as in the center it's better for the endgame. It can go defend this pawn at some point. And the rooks can go to somewhere else, maybe the f file, to play f5 and f4, and play on the king side. But after this we lost a rook. We did go to trap the knight, so of course we must go take the knight at least. Here you took back. And interestingly enough, here black is not doing that terribly. He does have to develop the pieces though, which you're not doing here. You're playing f5. But you can't really do anything with pawns if you have no pieces in the game, right? And we still need to develop the rook and the bishop. And then think about what to do. Okay, f5 and bishop d6, and yeah, here he attacked your bishop, but of course his bishop is on an undefended square, which is something you noticed, and you took the bishop. And these are the moves that win the game, right? So now we have two pieces for a rook, which is a lot better, right? Two pieces are basically always better than a rook. So h4, rook e8, finally you developed the rook, and this is a nice square. He plays e4, but this gives up a pawn. If he recaptures, you can take it. So f4, so now you also got a passed pawn, bishop b2, and he gives up a rook as well. So now you're up a piece. The knight is extremely strong on d5, and black is just winning both materially and positionally. Here he attacked your pawn on g7, and you didn't allow counterplay. Maybe a bit better was to put the rook here to keep it a bit more functional, but of course this is completely fine. And black should win by bringing the king here, probably to take this pawn, or just use the king to defend this pawn, and then use the rook to invade through somewhere, right? And the white cannot really do anything in the meantime. So quite a decent game, apart from blundering a fork, right? And you can see how avoidable this was, right? You mentioned that your reasoning was that you wanted to keep the option of castling, and this is a positional kind of thing, right? Positionally, maybe we don't want to move the king like white, right? But whatever move you ever make, the first thing you have to ask is, does it work tactically? This is the most important thing. This is why we must think on every single move. Right? Making a move in 1 second is unacceptable. We must try to avoid this habit before it becomes something that we cannot get rid of. So hopefully this was useful, and good luck.